breaking news. GM Rob Pelinka, the GM for the Los Angeles Lakers, has officially signed a contract extension that will extend him through 2026. So Rob Pelinka is in place, even beyond what LeBron James, players like that will be. This is kind of on par with, Darvin Ham, stuff like that. So what the Lakers organization is clearly trying to do is have that structure and that stability from the top to the bottom. You have Rob Pelinka, you have Darvin Ham and that coaching staff. They'll ride this out for the next 4 years and then, reevaluate from there. See what has been the progress, what has been done, what has been made. Is this core of the organization worth extending and going on beyond that? Or what is in play, right? That's what this ultimately is. Now, Rob Pelinka had put together an NBA championship team. A lot of people give Rob Pelinka a ton of scrutiny and really blame him for a lot of things. And I personally have stuck up for him on several occasions here on this channel. I think he's actually done a pretty good job. Now, has it been perfect? Absolutely not. But how many GMs make every decision correct every single time? It doesn't. Even the greatest GMs in history have had, bad years, off years, bad trades, bad deals, things like that. But it's the Lakers. Everything gets amplified, right? He had a championship team. The following season, he upgrades that team and is completely praised by fans, by the organization, by other organizations, by other GMs. They're voted most improved team by the poll that they do at the beginning of the year from all the GMs and stuff. Rob Pelinka is looked at as like GM of the year now. Lakers just won a championship and they got 2 of the 6 man of the year, all of that stuff. And Anthony Davis gets hurt. Otherwise, we probably go back to the finals. We were up 2-1 against the Suns. Looked like we were going up 3-1. The Suns had no answer for Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis gets hurt. All of that changes. That's not Rob Pelinka's fault. He can't control Anthony Davis getting hurt. After that, he plans on going and getting Buddy Hield, working out a deal in a trade for Buddy Hield. And, even DeMar DeRozan said he thought he was going to the Lakers. Rob Pelinka has all these deals, all these moves on the table, all in place. LeBron James and Anthony Davis come to him and say, hey, we don't want that. We want you to go get Russell Westbrook. We spoke to Russell Westbrook, and that's what we want you to do. When you're 2 superstars on your team, and especially arguably, if not the greatest player of all time, going into a contract year after that season says, hey, we want this player instead of a Buddy Hield or DeMar DeRozan, well then that's what you do. There's not a GM in the league. There's not an organization in the league that would say no to those two if they come to you and ask you to go get a specific player if you're able to go get said player, right? Obviously, if it's an impossible ask, then it's an impossible ask. But if you have the capability of doing so, there's not a team in the league that would do it. Look at how much teams and organizations and GMs and everything just cater to superstars. Look at what the Brooklyn Nets caused, right? I mean, they caused a complete monster, and a lot of people blame, well, you're the GM, you're this. There's levels to this. Players have more power now than they've ever had in the history of the game. Organizations will fire the GM, will fire the coach, will fire everybody except for their star players to keep their star players happy. I mean, we've seen coaches get fired from other superstars, things like that. This isn't something new. Players have the power. They've had the power for a long time now, and it's only growing and getting bigger. And that'll likely get addressed in the new CBA, stuff like that. But nonetheless, I don't blame Rob Pelinka for that. Now, this season, I personally have said that I think that this is a very good roster. So far in preseason, they look very good. Now, are they a lock contender? No. But when it comes to this season and this roster, there wasn't anybody out there this season. There wasn't. And none of the trades were worth the trades, right? The only deal that was worth a deal was the Kyrie Irving deal. That was it. Outside of the Kyrie Irving deal, nothing else was worth both first-round picks. All the other deals were either just role guys that don't make us that much better, or they were deals that have risks. Like the Pacers deal has a ton of risks, and there's no guarantees, and it's not worth giving up both assets for in order to just do a deal just to do a deal. I praise Rob because of his patience this offseason. He made sure he didn't get fleeced. He didn't get put in a position. The easy road would have been to just take the Pacers deal or take, the Jazz deal and say, hey, look what I did. I moved off for Russ. And everyone would have been happy with him. Everyone would have praised him, all of that stuff. And if it went a complete disaster, then all those same people that wanted and hoped that Rob Pelinka made that deal would all be going at him, at his head again. Rob Pelinka is in an impossible situation. No matter what, he's the bad guy. And that comes with being the GM. That comes with being the GM for the Lakers organization. And that's the thing. But this offseason, there was nobody out there. We got every single player we could have gotten this offseason. We got, except for maybe Otto Porter Jr., but he even said the reason he signed he himself said the reason that he signed with Toronto was because of his wife, because that's where she's from, and he wanted to be able to be in a place where she's comfortable and she's at home. He did it for his wife. Otherwise, who knows where he would have went? Maybe the Lakers could have got him. Outside of that, they got everybody. Like, the hope was maybe you could get Thomas Bryant or Damian Jones. They got both. You know, the talk was, oh, maybe they could go get a guy like Schroeder. Well, they got Schroeder and Patrick Beverley. You know, maybe you could get Toscano Anderson or Troy Brown. Well, they got both. You know, like, Rob Pelinka has done a really good job Mickey Mousing this team together and putting together the best roster that was available and out there. Would it have been nice to get a deal done? Yes, but it's not worth jeopardizing not just this season, but future seasons, because you have no way out. Miles Turner gets injured and he's out for the season, and Anthony Davis gets hurt, and this season becomes a total disaster and falls apart. Then now what? You're just going to let Miles Turner walk? You know, you got to extend him. You're going to extend him immediately as soon as you sign him. And as soon as you do that, he's making 20 plus million, which he's not worth that, but you have no choice because you're locked in. And now you have no assets. So if Miles Turner doesn't work or he can't stay healthy, something along those lines, you're stuck. You could literally put yourself in the Timothy Mozgov, Luol Deng situation all over again, and you're screwed. And Rob Pelinka loses. The only way that Rob Pelinka is going to get credit is if they win a championship. And, you know, I wouldn't rule it out. They look great in preseason. Now, it's preseason. It's been a couple games. We'll see what happens come regular season. But they look good. And if we get into the playoffs and Russell Westbrook is working, everything's clicking, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I'll take my chances. And if that happens, guess what's going to happen? Everybody that was trashing Rob Pelinka are all going to talk about how he's the greatest GM ever and this, that, and the other. Everyone's going to praise him for putting this team together and all that stuff. Like, it's just, it makes no sense. Like, you're not going to be able to put together a superstar dream team every single year. They have enough guys around them. I've made an entire breakdown video how this team is better in every category than the bubble team that won the championship. Literally, this team is better in every way. That bubble team, people talk about three-point shooting. That bubble team only shot 34, just under 35% from three. They were like 27th in threes that season, but they were the number one defense. They were great defensively. You know, and you had LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? Well, guess what? This team could be a top team defensively, and they still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They still have a lot of key players that match up, side by side to the guys in the bubble. And we have a Russell Westbrook. That bubble team didn't have a Russell Westbrook. So if Russ ends up working, that is a huge positive in the right direction. My point is that Rob Pelinka has done a good job given the circumstances and the situation he's in. We need stability. We need structure. We don't need to be an organization that's just going through GMs, going through coaches, going through everything year in and year out. You have your coach established. You have a GM that's done a solid job and was very patient this offseason when the easiest route would have been to just do a deal and make the fans happy, and the world would have been great. But I've said it time and time again. If GMs and organizations listen to fans, every team in the NBA would just be a total disaster. Like, if they started letting fans vote on decisions that GMs and stuff make, none of our organizations would be a mess. These guys get paid millions and millions of dollars. They have scouting departments. They have teams and teams of people. And even myself, none of us are more knowledgeable or more well-equipped than these people. Even the bad GMs, and there are some really bad GMs in the NBA that we criticize and we talk about, stuff like that. Even those GMs know more about the ins and outs, and again, have an entire team, an entire organization, all this stuff, and most of us are just sitting on the couch, giving our opinions. That's what it is at the end of the day. And I trust that these guys know what they're doing. They get paid a lot of money to do this. Rob Pelinka has done a good job. The only thing that people hold over his head is the Russell Westbrook thing, and that wasn't even him. Like, Time and time, all I hear is like, he never should have traded for us. He never should have traded for us. He should have been fired when that wasn't him. That was LeBron James and Anthony Davis who wanted Russell Westbrook. And yes, is he the GM? Yes. So guess what? The hate falls on him. It doesn't fall on Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and he took it in stride. But he gave his star players what they wanted. The player that they felt most important. Rob Pelinka isn't the one out there on the court playing. He's not. And your two superstars say, we can make it work. We're going to be great with him. Like, this is everything we need. Your job is to put the best players around your stars as possible. And Russell Westbrook is still a superstar. He is still a star. Even in the worst year he had of his career, arguably, he still put up 18, 7, and 7, which is one of the best. I mean, there are stars in this league that wish that they could have a stat line like that. There's not very many people that have done that, and that was a bad year. And I'm not saying Russ is like a top 5 player or anything like that, but he's still a very good player. And we've seen sample sizes, and he looks great in preseason. He's going to have good games. He's going to have bad games. There's going to be some things that are going to be tough for him to shake because that's just how it is. You're asking him to change, but he's showing improvement. He's playing defense. He's running over screens. He's working, and he's working hard. They went and got Darvin Ham, which was the coach that they should have gotten. And he, in a week, has done more for this team than Frank Vogel did in an entire year with Russell Westbrook. We got younger. We got everything. Everything that we could have got done, we did this season. That was in the possibility. Everything else was out of our control. We can't force the team to do a trade with us. We can't force Kyrie to leave the Brooklyn Nets and join us and take $6 million instead of $36 million. Like Rob Pelinka doesn't have control over that stuff. His job every year is, what are the best players available right now, and can I go get them and put them around my stars? And he did that. He did that this year. But go look at the free agency list going into this season and tell me who we could have gotten that we didn't get. Like, we got everybody we could have gotten. And very likely next season we'll probably do the same thing because Rob Pelinka has done a very good job at this. And we're the Lakers. So players want to come to LA. Players want to play with us. We saw the Malik Monk effect. That's probably what's going to happen with Walker, Kendrick Nunn. And these guys are going to go and they're going to get another contracts. And then we're going to get some new young guys. Because we're the Lakers. It's a spotlight. It's something that shine. Rob Pelinka has done a great job. I think Rob Pelinka has done, given all the circumstances, everything that's happened, even when the whole Magic situation where Magic just basically threw the entire team under the bus and just bailed on them in the middle of out of left field and was like, whoa, what is going on? He handled that. He navigated that, wins a championship, goes and upgrades the team next season in ways that nobody thought he could. Everyone was shocked when that happened, and he did it. And then the one bad year that he had wasn't even him. It was LeBron James and Anthony Davis picking the team because they believed that they could do that. That was LeBron. Last season was LeBron James and Anthony Davis's team. And you never hear them get criticized. Everyone's always like, Rob Pelinka should have never done this, never should have done that. I get it. He's the GM. It's his decision. There is not a GM in this league, I don't care who it is, that wouldn't have done that. That wouldn't have went and made that deal if they were able to appease LeBron James, who was going in and needed a new contract, and Anthony Davis, your other star that you just gave, your entire franchise away to go get. And those two guys just won you a championship, not even 12 months earlier. Of course you're going to do that. Of course you are. And you trust that your players can figure it out because they're superstars. That was the goal. Russell Westbrook is better than Buddy Hield. Russell Westbrook is better than DeMar DeRozan. But it was the fit. That was a problem. And coaching. Frank Vogel was terrible with that team last season. Terrible. I mean, he had no set plays, no set lineups, no clear direction. Players looked lost constantly. Not even Westbrook, just all the players. He's a defensive coach and had these guys playing zero defense. Not saying that they could have played great defense, but you literally had nobody. There was no defensive sets, no defensive play schemes, nothing. He was running Rondo, THT, LeBron, and Westbrook. That should never even be things that you even try because you know how that works if you're a real coach. It's not a coincidence that as soon as Jason Kidd left, their team fell apart. That team would have been much better last season if Jason Kidd was on that team. I'm not saying that they would have won a championship or anything, but they would have been better because Jason Kidd is a better coach. Look what he did to Dallas in just 1 year. You know, it's the coaching. It was the culture. Frank Vogel lost the locker room. It was injuries. It was a culmination. There was so many things that went into last season. And people have recency bias. People operate on like, what have you done for me lately? And I understand that to an extent, but you got to look at the entire picture sometimes. Sometimes you got to take a step back and go, okay, so whole picture. But anyway, as always, those are my thoughts and opinions. So I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think of this extension? Do you love it? Do you hate it? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Let me know down